and I am Director of Labor at Wayne State University. I want to welcome you and thank you all for coming, distinguished union and community and corporate leaders, and people who work in the real world, people who really do the yeoman services for this nation. This is a very important event. It is the third annual Labor Leaders on Labor Forum. As you may recall, in 2010, at about this time, we are General President of the International Brotherhood of Teamsters. Last year, we honored Rich Trumka, the President of the National AFL-CIO. And today, we honor Mary Kay Henry, President of the Service Employees International Union. SEIU represents 2 million members in the United States, Canada, and Puerto Rico. It represents employees in more than 100 occupations and in such industries as healthcare, the public sector, and services, building services. It is fitting that we at Wayne State University hold such an event. Our history is richly and deeply tied to the struggle for economic and social justice, and, as you know, to the labor movement. Last year, we honored Rich Trumka, the President of the National AFL-CIO. And today, we honor Mary Kay Henry, President of the Service Employees International Union. SEIU represents 2 million members in the United States, Canada, and Puerto Rico. It represents employees in more than 100 occupations and in such industries as healthcare, the public sector, and services, building services. It is fitting that we at Wayne State University hold such an event. Our history is richly and deeply tied to the struggle for economic and social justice, and, as you know, to the labor movement. General President of the International Brotherhood of Teamsters. Last year, we honored Rich Trumka, the President of the National AFL-CIO. And today, we honor Mary Kay Henry, President of the Service Employees International Union. SEIU represents 2 million members in the United States, Canada, and Puerto Rico. It represents employees in more than 100 occupations and in such industries as healthcare, the public sector, and services, building services. It is fitting that we at Wayne State University hold such an event. Our history is richly and deeply tied to the struggle for economic and social justice, and, as you know, to the labor movement. Hubert Humphrey perhaps said it best nearly 37 years ago when he gave the speech dedicating the Walter Reuther Library. He said, and I quote, "In the minds of many, Walter Reuther, Detroit, the United Auto Workers, and Wayne State University are all intimately interwoven. This was Walter's school, Walter's home, Walter's community, Walter's people, and the battleground for so many of Walter's triumphs." Through research, education, and outreach, we at Labor at Wayne work to keep this intimate connection a continuing reality. I spent 22 years at the University of Pittsburgh, and in the fall of 2008, when I said I was coming to Detroit, many of my colleagues said, "Well, you need your head examined." And I said, "No, I've been here before. I like it here. And this to me is really coming home. It's coming home to labor." And so that's why I'm here, and I'm proud to be here. And we have come here today to honor Mary Kay Henry. And to that end, we will begin the program. Let me first introduce the distinguished Dean and Physicist of the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, Dr. Robert Thomas. Bob Thomas is retiring soon, and I've heard that one of the benefits that he might derive from retirement is not having to listen to people like me. But it's my pleasure to welcome Dean Thomas.
Thank you so much, Merrick. And one of my duties in such occasions is to serve as a potted plant to represent the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences. And on behalf of our college, within which is Labor at Wayne, of which we're very proud, I want to welcome you to this very special third symposium on labor leaders. And I want to mention that just before we came over here, a few of us were in the Walter Reuther archive. Walter Reuther from American Masters. In fact, he was guarding the entrance and exit of the archive. And we spent some time also in the Leonard Wood Conference Center, the Leonard Woodcock Conference Center. Leonard Woodcock, for those of you who aren't aware of it, was also a Wayne Stater. In fact, Leonard Woodcock was a member of the very first Board of Governors when Wayne State became a state university. In addition to that, a few folks at the table where I was enjoying lunch this noon learned of my interest in China. And it's interesting to me that Leonard Woodcock was, in fact, the first envoy to China, sent there by Jimmy Carter, and this was in 1977. And we did not have relations, diplomatic relations with them other than the envoy. And he negotiated, I believe, I wasn't there at the time, but I believe that he must have been very instrumental in negotiating formal diplomatic relations between China and the United States, and in fact was named the very first ambassador to China from the United States. So there's a very long and venerable history of labor at Wayne and as part of Wayne State University, and I'm proud of the organization Labor at Wayne, and want to thank Merrick Masters for his organizing of this important conference. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Vice President Ned Stabler, who is going to speak on behalf of the Central Administration. Ned?
Thank you, Dean Thomas. Clearly, I am not Alan Gilmore. He is decidedly more eloquent, decidedly more distinguished than I am, but I am taller, so I've got that going for me. But that's about it. But on behalf of our 11th president, Alan Gilmore, as well as our Board of Governors, and I saw a few of our Board of Governors members here today. I know Governor Miller is still in the back, everybody. And I think the rest might have snuck out already, so we don't need to applaud for them anymore. But I saw Governor Dingell here, as well as Governor Tina Abbott was here as well, and I'm sure Paul Masseron is hiding somewhere around here as well. So it's my pleasure on behalf of Alan Gilmore and the Board of Governors to welcome you, our distinguished guests, as well as President Henry. We are so honored to have you here. You have made a career and a lifetime out of advocating for workers all across North America, and in doing so, building and strengthening the middle class in our country that has made us as great as we are. So we are so privileged and honored to have you here. Thank you very much. Thank you all for coming. My job is not to introduce you. I don't have that privilege. I think Professor Masters gets that honor. I'm really just here on behalf of President Gilmore. But I wanted to give you just a quick, in the 2 minutes they allowed me, sense of what labor means here at Wayne State to us. I'm the Vice President for Economic Development. And a lot of people ask me, what does economic development mean at a university? And I've got a 30-minute version of that and a 15-minute and a 5-minute version. I'm going to give you the 5-second version, which is essentially, I only had 2 minutes, a 5-second version, which is that my job is to leverage the assets of Wayne State to be a catalyst for growth here in Midtown Detroit. And when you think about what the assets of Wayne State are, people often think about the intellectual property, they think about the buildings, nowadays they think about our football team, which we're quite proud of. What I think about is our chief asset here is the people. We got 32,000 students, we got 8,000 faculty and staff, and that is our real opportunity to be a catalyst for growth. The ideas, the vibrancy, the purchasing power, all of those things are the reason why when people ask me to look into my crystal ball and look at the future of Wayne State, I say the future of Wayne State is tied to the continued commitment and excellence of the people that are here. And I say the future is extremely bright. So welcome to the third annual Labor Leaders on Labor Conference. I hope you will enjoy President Henry's speech as much as I anticipate, and thank you very much for coming.
Thank you, Vice President Stabler. I appreciate your comments. Mary Kay Henry belongs in the pantheon of great labor leaders who have struggled for economic and social justice in America and across the globe, just as do Walter Reuther, Jim Hoffa, and Rich Trumka. Mary Kay Henry is a native Michigander and a graduate of Michigan State University, and she has also indicated to me she has adopted Wayne State University as her home. She is the oldest in a family of 10, and I might say that I'd like to introduce her mother, who is here, and thank Mary Jo Henry and her brother Brian, who may be here as well, and his spouse Beth. Thank you all for coming to join in this celebration. Mary Kay Henry joined SEIU in the early 1980s and perhaps has held more positions in that organization than any other person. I think the person that painted her name tag or the name sign probably was the busiest person in SEIU. I've read that in the 1980s, she held 18 different positions in SEIU just in the state of California. She has been a pioneer in union organizing and in collective bargaining. Mary Kay Henry was elected to the SEIU Executive Board in 1995 and Executive Vice President of the Union in 2004. In 2010, she was elected President of SEIU. So on behalf of Labor at Wayne and Wayne State University, it is my pleasure to present to you Mary Kay Henry, President of the Service Employees International Union.
Thank you, Merrick. Good afternoon, brothers and sisters. I am so honored to be here at Wayne State and inspired that this community has created such a feeling of a deep respect for the history of working people here in Detroit and throughout Michigan, and a way in which you've created labor archives that honor the work of working people all around North America. I have to say, it is an incredible inspiration and renews my commitment to the fight for justice that we're all in. And I wanted to acknowledge that I'm incredibly proud to be honored as a labor leader. And I just accepted the award that I will show the SEIU members, who it looks like some of you are about to head into the afternoon shift. You want to see the plaque, I will show that to you. But I think that what you have all done in honoring me is honor the courageous decisions that union members and non-union workers make inside my union every day. It's those leaders of courage that I accept this award on behalf of, because without their determination against the odds, there would be no way for me to lead this incredibly great union where our members are deeply, deeply committed not only to improving their own lives, but the lives of the people they serve and the broader community. And so I accept this honor on behalf of our 2.2 million members. But I have to say, I never dreamed I'd be acknowledged in the company of Walter Reuther, who I believe is an icon on behalf of all of us who are, I aspire to have 1 ounce of the guts that that man demonstrated in his leadership on behalf of the United Auto Workers. And I want you to know that I see myself in the service of reaching for the breadth of the leadership that he's demonstrated on behalf of working people. While I'm joined by many wonderful labor leaders and community leaders and government leaders and university leaders in this room, permit me to acknowledge a smaller part of that broader family, which is my SEIU family. I just wanted to get you to know us through the leadership that many of you labor with all the time. We have many nursing home workers, hospital workers, and home care workers I saw sprinkled around in this room, who are led by our president, Marge Faville of SEIU Healthcare Michigan. And then we have many workers on the front lines of public service in this state, which you know has been in the bullseye of attack on working people, that somehow the problem with our economy are big fat public pensions. As you know, we are all committed to myth busting on that, and on the front lines of that for our union, together with many of you in this room, are Phil Thompson, who I think was in the room for Michigan, who I understand was here with Executive Vice President from the UAW, Cindy Estrada, just this past Monday on a panel about new solutions, because our public service members want to be part of the solution of getting the economy in this state going again and making government effective. And we have great ideas for how to make it happen, and published a report that was issued that we are deeply committed to having a conversation with the governor and the state legislature about. Phil is joined by another group of leaders in our state that think about the conditions that our corrections officers face in the prisons of Michigan, who face a lot of danger and diversity every day. Mel Grieshaber and Andy Potter from our Michigan correction officers. And then I thought I would conclude with the heartbeat of our union, where our union started, with immigrant janitors on the south side of Chicago. They stand with the janitors here in Detroit. Erica Kimball is their leader. I think they are in bargaining now to protect good jobs here in Detroit. And then Merrick was good enough to acknowledge the Henry family representatives that are here with me today. And I wanted you to know that the source of my strength as a labor leader comes from my family, my faith, and my union. And those three things inform the choices I make every day as a leader on behalf of our members. My sister, when we gather at the Henry family, now 38 strong from the original 10, often toasts to the power of 10. So I learned from a very early age the power of getting people to join hands together and move in a group. And the lesson I take away from that upbringing is there's nothing that you cannot make happen together when you make a decision and move as a group. And then I'm grateful to have this opportunity here in Detroit, Michigan, to honor my mother's teaching of my faith. Because while I was raised in the Roman Catholic Church, I would submit to all of you that my mother was the person that made sense of it for me. Because for those of you that know the Roman Catholic Church, there's a lot of mystery involved in the stories of our church, which as a young person, I would say, kind of indignantly, I'm sure over and over again to my mother, what in the heck are they talking about? And she'd say, have faith. And she said it over and over enough to me to make me understand that what she was imbuing in me was a complete conviction that even if I wasn't sure, and I couldn't tell you exactly how, that if I believed that it was possible for working people to achieve justice in this country, that there was a way that together we would make it happen. And that faith is what fueled my desire to then become a part of the labor movement, because I saw the labor movement as a force for justice in this country. And since Wayne State has created this opportunity for us to have a dialogue about it, I would submit to you that there are three things the labor movement are called to do in this moment in expanding our role in American society. I think we need to fuse a broad justice movement again. I think we stand on the shoulders of people like Walter Reuther and all the other great names that you see around this campus who lived from that perspective. And I would say because of the 40 years of right-wing attack on working people and their organizations in this country, we've gotten kind of hunkered down in parts of our movement in thinking only about how do we protect and defend our own members. And the best parts of our movement are thinking more broadly again about how we unite the fights that are occurring across the justice movement and understand that we really are in this together because there is an attack on our democracy and a systematic war being waged on trying to dismantle democratic decision-making in this country. We see it through the 5 million voters that have been thrown off the rolls doing voter ID requirements. We see it when the Michigan legislature uses the immediate effect rule for thinking about how to pass things in the state legislature. We see it when $3 billion is going to be spent on the question of who runs our country this November. The money in politics and the inability for everybody to participate equally in our political system has our democracy at threat, and the labor movement needs to own that as our problem as well. But the second thing I think that the labor movement needs to recommit ourselves to is that our unique contribution to building the broader justice movement is to shine a light on the severe income inequality that has grown in our economy over the past 40 years and make it the #1 problem that our nation has to solve, and to make it crystal clear that a key part of the solution to income inequality is the revitalization of workers being able to join together, form a community, collectively bargain so that we can lift wages again, not just for ourselves, but when 30% of the American workforce was collectively bargaining in this country, guess what? Wages were rising for everybody. And we need to return to our mission to make that possible again in this economy. And then the final thing I think that is our responsibility and role is to lead with the guts and determination of Walter Reuther. There's a short story that one of our organizers here in Detroit found for me, and I hope I don't, for the aficionados of his incredible legacy, butcher the story. But here's what I understand. He learned that Martin Luther King had been jailed in Birmingham for standing up for justice. And he was concerned about how people were going to organize to make the case about why Martin Luther King's civil disobedience was the right line for him to cross on behalf of all of us. So the story is told in the book that was written that he took $150,000 in cash, divided it into several money belts, put the money belts in a car from Detroit with 2 organizers and said to the organizers, get down there and help them make the case to the country about why Martin Luther King is standing on the side of right in this country. And that is the kind of bold leadership on behalf of all of us that I pray I have the guts to act on each and every day. And I'm proud to acknowledge one of the brothers of our movement that I saw slip into the back of the room, who I find is an incredible partner in challenging us being able to lead with the guts required in this moment. And the president of the United Auto Workers, Bob King, I think is in the back of the room. Bob and I talk all around the country about the crisis for working people. And I am not an economist, but I am a labor leader that cares deeply about the crisis that affects everybody in our country. Not just working people, but seniors, children, students. Everybody is facing an incredible strain given the economic crisis. So let's just check it out in this room. How many of you in this room have family members that cannot find a job to support themselves on? This those hands, in my mind, are an outrage. In a country where we know that there is an economic recovery that started last year, but the income generated by that recovery, 50% of that income went into the hands of the top 1% in this country. While the rest of us, 80% of us in this economy, are sharing 20% of the wealth being generated. And that inequality is what I think we are called to stand against. And as we stand against that inequality, we need to support the efforts of immigrant workers in the state of Alabama who are being joined by civil rights leaders in the state of Alabama to stand up against a law that is targeting anybody that looks different and allowing police to stop those folks on the street and ask for documents. Never in America, since the civil rights movement where we ended Jim Crow, passed the voting rights law, have we legalized racial profiling. And that is happening again in this moment, in this time. And we need to join together to stand against racism, sexism, homophobia, all forms of oppression that divide working people from each other and distract us from this terrible income inequality. We think that if we can build a movement that unites immigrant workers, civil rights leaders, students, community leaders, unemployed, everybody in our community that wants to return justice to this economy, we have a shot at making the case to the nation that this 2012 election can be about how do we act as a country as the 99% for the 100%. The thing I love about Detroit, and I'm not sure you understand how precious you are, is your sensibility about how labor and management can work together, about how there can be partnerships for the good of the whole, has been eroded and dismantled in most parts of our country. And so this sense that you have about how corporate leadership, business leadership, government, and labor and community can all stand together, you are an island of value about that. And I think what we have to commit ourselves to, and why labor at Wayne is such an incredible national treasure in my mind, is that we have to restore that value as something that matters all across this country, where we won't allow corporate leadership to suggest that it's okay to use every tax loophole, pay less than even the current effective tax rate, because that's just the way it is. We want to call everybody to a higher ground where each and every individual pays their fair share to get this economy going again and to restore a level of fairness for all in our country. Are we? And we think we have a concrete way to make that happen. As we are building the 99% justice movement, as we head into the November 2012 election, we can set our sights on making the case right after that election in the lame duck session of the U.S. Congress. Because this nation will face a choice about whether to make the Bush tax cuts permanent or to let them expire for anybody that earns over $250,000 a year in this country. If, as a nation, we can organize to accept that the choice we ought to make is to get $3.8 trillion back into the U.S. economy, we will be able to commit ourselves to getting millions of people back to work, restoring public services, making sure we can guarantee health care for people, and beginning to establish some level of fairness where we're all in it together again. And that's the kind of country that we want to be. The second thing we think we need to do after having that debate as a nation is to begin to inject unions as a part of the solution to reducing income inequality. So as we get people back to work, let's figure out how to make those jobs good jobs that people can support their families on, where we can retire with dignity, where we can own a home, where we can imagine that our children can go to college and graduate without drowning in debt. That is not too much to expect in this great land of ours. And we want to be able to restore working people's confidence and the confidence of the 99% that is not some faraway dream. That's a reality that all of us and millions of others are going to make happen for the next generation in this country. I don't know if it feels to you like an uphill struggle as you think about it now. I just met with some of our organizers and community leaders with Good Jobs Now here in Detroit. And I had a sense in that room that there's an incredible sense of confidence. In California, we'd say, si se puede. There was a yes, we can spirit in that room. And I think that spirit has been rippling across this country all across last year. Who would have imagined that millions of people would have gone to the ballot box in Ohio just past November and stood up for collective bargaining as a pathway to the middle class for people in Ohio? Who would have imagined that the teaching assistants at the University of Wisconsin and high school students would have flooded the rotunda and occupied the Madison Rotunda and captured our imagination about, no, Governor Walker, this is not about the budget. This is about you wanting to dismantle workers' ability to raise wages for everybody in this state. It's amazing. Who would have imagined the Occupy movement? That all of the people that took to parks all around the world could galvanize and prick the conscience of this nation in saying, enough is enough. We are not going to tolerate this level of income inequality any longer. We want to stand for the 99% and call the 1% to the table. So yeah, we can share sacrifice, but we want to work for a living. We don't want handouts. People want to return to the dignity and respect of being able to have a good job and support their families in this country again. Who would have imagined that African Americans, immigrant workers, union workers, and non-union workers would return to the historic march from Selma to Montgomery to shine a light on the attack on immigrants, but to unite that fight with the attack on voting rights, the attack on workers' rights, on everything we hold dear in this country? There is a bubbling in this country that I think we have to nurture as a labor movement, where we act with the resources that our members invest in their organization, infusing a broader justice movement, because we want the American labor movement to return to our historical claim, which is that we can be equal partners with the rest of the justice movement in addressing the worst inequality in this country since the Great Depression. And we will do that by shining a light on this inequality, by making the case, in spite of the majority opinion in this country, that unions can be a part of the solution, and that we will lift workers up again by allowing workers to lead in a way that I've been blessed to watch. There are nursing home workers in this room who I've been blessed to stand beside after they've been through a 3-hour meeting where their nursing supervisor, the nursing home administrator, and the CEO of the corporation that owned the nursing home put them in a room for 3 hours to try and convince them to take off their union button, because they didn't want that worker who they knew were going to make a decisive difference for the workers that were afraid to stand proud for the union. And it is that kind of leadership and courage. And it is inspired not just because that nursing home worker wants to earn better wages for herself and her coworkers. That is inspired because that nursing home worker aches for how elders are cared for in her nursing home. So this is what I want us to reach for. I want us to reach for the incredible pride that people have in the jobs they do, no matter what they are. I want us to reach for and remember the security officer who earns minimum wage with no benefits, but stands proud every day in trying to protect the people in the building that they serve. I want us to stand proud for the hospital worker who clocks out, but then returns to the floor of a cancer patient because they think that patient needs their hand held. because no one's been to visit them that day. And they are called to serve in a role that they may not be compensated completely for, but they care deeply about doing well. It is that source of optimism and commitment in this country that built our middle class. And our middle class is shrinking, and we are called in this moment to get each other up out of our chairs, to reach for a source of strength that we may feel tired some days. But we have got to rise up together as a nation and require our government and corporate leadership to address how we can all win again in this country. I think the best of all of us wants everyone to succeed. And you and I both know that what matters most for every individual human being is that our work is valued, that every human being has the dignity and respect we deserve, that our families and communities can thrive, have a vacation, take a sick day, help our kids do homework. And that those two things, if we can build a broad justice movement, will permit us to leave this world a better and more equal place for the next generation. So for our children and our grandchildren, let's go win some justice together. Thank you very much.
President Henry has graciously agreed to take a few questions if people have any. So I would simply ask you to stand and introduce yourself, and I'd be happy to answer. Anybody have any questions? Yes, sir.
Hello, my name is Fletcher Grant. I'm with the Labor Studies Center here at Wayne State. And as I mentioned to you earlier, what are we going to do to get our young people involved with the labor movement? Because a lot of them are coming to the workforce, and we need to do something to get them involved. What are we going to do?
Thank you for that question. How many people in this room are under 35? Wow. So I'm going to pick a sister here. Tell me why you're involved.
It's so important that we don't stand up for our fellow workers.
And you're with United Food and Commercial Workers? As a, what do you do?
I do politics.
Great.
So out there fighting the fight.
Great.
Protect our jobs.
Thank you very much. Why are you involved?
I'm involved because I believe in workers' rights. I believe in equality. I'm a labor representative at SEIU. And I believe the work we do.
And that's why you took leadership. So those are two examples. My experience is that when you want to get young people involved, you ask them what you can do to help encourage their leadership.
Yes.
And that as a labor movement, we just need to create more vehicles. And in our union, the two things that we're doing is building a list by matching our membership list with the voter list so that we can identify everybody under 35. I don't know if other parts of the justice movement in this room think of under 35 as young, but that's what folks decided. I think it's because we've had so many layoffs in our industries that young workers have left us, and so we're inching up. And hopefully what we can do is create a turnaround with that. So we've created a youth committee. There's lots of social media. We have a full-time organizer. We're having a youth convention as part of our SEIU convention in May. So we targeted youth delegates in each one of our local union delegations. So our local leaders are specifically getting people under 35, which wouldn't normally happen because they aren't often yet elected to the local union executive board. And then we're allowing for a special convention of our youth, and that they will create a agenda that they will present to the rest of the convention that we then want to act on in the next 4 years.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sure.
Since Detroit is so precious, as you said, I'd like to share with you a outstanding experience which Dr. Masters and I have just discovered. It was Walter Reuther meeting with Martin Luther King Jr.
Yes.
at Solidarity House, in which
Don't you
they
wish we could have
planned.
flies on the wall in that room? Wouldn't you have loved to have been in that room?
I was there.
Are you kidding me?
I was there because it's my legacy in both
Amen.
sides.
Amen.
But Walter Reuther actually financed the march in Washington.
Mm.
Walter Reuther meeting with at Solidarity House.
Mm-hmm.
It was the Secretary of Labor meeting in Detroit. Started off her speech with this outstanding legacy, which we didn't know, and which we now share with you. My question is, one of the missing links in the paradigm of today's needs, government, corporate, social agencies, is academia.
Mm.
What is the role of higher education in this new world, new paradigm, new approaches to education, collaboration, political science, anthropology, medicine, all of us,
Mm-hmm.
labor,
Mm-hmm.
all of us? This is the new question. What is the future of democracy, and what is the role of higher education?
Right now.
So, my sister, I would do the same thing. It sounds like you have an answer to the question of what's the role. And one is higher education is a pillar of restoring American democracy,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And the other thing it sounds like you're saying is higher education is another incubator for innovation in the economy, right?
Yes.
And a third, it seems to me, is higher education can be a pathway to equality. If we give people equal access to higher education, which is now being threatened in this economy, right? Then we allow for more economic equality irregardless of race and sex,
Right.
right? So I would love, that would be another dialogue that I'm sure Wayne State would be willing to hold
Yes.
about the role of higher education. There are three things that address income inequality. One is government policy on taxation, right? The second is the existence of collective bargaining and worker organization and unions. And the third is public education. So being able to make sure that we tackle all three is really important. And what I'm trying to assert is that I think the labor movement needs to own our key responsibility, our unique contribution to making sure that we create the conditions for millions of workers to organize in the private sector. And that we have to hold that while we work with the rest of the justice movement on democracy, education, government, tax policy. And I have to tell you, it's a lived experience for me. I was in a family of 10, but I belonged to a big church. I had responsibility to my family of 10, but I also had responsibility in this bigger community. And as a leader of SEIU, I think I have to own my responsibility to the SEIU members, but I also have to be accountable to the rest of the American labor movement and building the broader justice movement. So I think it's tricky given the attack and the attempt by the right wing to divide us all. But I think, as I say, there's an incredible source of optimism in this moment because I think we are dropping our differences and joining together at a level that models what we think is. Any of our nursing home workers from Healthcare Michigan have a question? It seems like summer. Are you going back to work, or did you just come from work?
No, I work.
Oh, you work. So have you had any sleep? That's no. I don't know if you know this. My assistant, Denise Delgado, told me that Detroit is the most sleep-deprived work. And his sister is a prime example. This is what we, I think, are called to do in this moment. We cannot allow working people to work till they drop and not be able to do right by our families because we're stringing together jobs to make ends meet. Right? And that's what's so wonderful that you came, because you are a leader in our movement. Yes. I'm also open to having people testify, like whatever you think I might have missed that I should have said, other things that you think labor ought to be doing in this moment.
Recognition of women.
Ah, here, here.
The dignity, first of all, of women. SEIU being health workers when people are at their most vulnerable, the close contact which we have, which leads us to equal pay for equal work.
Fletcher's saying, okay, that's forum number 3. We're proud to be a union that's 68% women. And we're proud that I'm the first woman president. Yeah! Other questions, comments?
Well, I guess there's one more. I'm sorry to talk so much, but I am a talker. Again, I was thinking about, as she was speaking, what about seniors? We're in that baby boom age. A lot of us are retiring. What can we do to help the labor movement after we are out of our job? After we
got work for you. So any union retirees in the audience? What are you doing after you retire?
Still spend time with the union, trying to do different education programs, and active in my homeowners association, and I'm very active in the foreclosure movement.
He also works with us. Don't forget that, Steve.
Great. What we're trying to do is keep better track of our members when they retire. I do want you to know that it's a privilege, retirement.
Yes.
18% of the American workforce has that privilege. About 70% of our members have no retirement. About 30% of our members have no access to Social Security. Our home care members are not included under the Social Security Act. So unless they bargain for retirement, there is no union retiree program for our members who are home care workers or janitors in the South-Southwest. But our willingness to have the powerhouse of union retirees, especially in states where the labor movement has not yet rebuilt collective bargaining, North Carolina, Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, is really, really important. So it's a great political action, reaching out to non-union workers, doing education are 3 key things that all union retirees, we need to get on the field and helping us lift this justice for all.
Forum number 4. Forum number 4.
Forum number 4. Yes, sister.
Hi, I'm Manila Freeman. I retired from Detroit Public Schools.
Oh,
I was there.
thank you for your service as a teacher to the children of
Here for almost 15 to 20 years. I'm not ready to retire. I'm not ready to sit down. We were forced out. The union busted us, a certain group of us, 2 years ago. We had to be forced out. My question is, since there are union members that have approached that are going into their good years of retirement, I would love for Detroit to be the first city to have an SEIU nursing care home only for SEIU former members. There are so many nursing home buildings that are vacant. And if they can take it over and make it into a nursing care facility with SEIU on it, in Detroit of a large number. AQAW used to get their own.
Or maybe we could have one together. So this is a woman of vision, right? I don't know if you agree, but every good idea needs imagination and to paint a vivid picture like that to make things possible. And that's what I was saying when I began about faith. Because I think it is about having faith in each other and a belief in the basic goodness of all people that drives us as a movement and which makes us unstoppable. In spite of the attack that is happening on us, we will prevail. Because we have before, right? We stand on the shoulders of incredible leaders that have been mentioned in this room, Walter Reuther, Martin Luther King, many others that you could call out. And I think of the hundreds of thousands of people that have built my union, whose names will never be repeated, but made as much of a difference as those two did in their community. And that is the leadership we have to call out in each other. It cannot be about me, Bob King, Jim Hoffa, Rich Trumka. We have to be in the service of hundreds of thousands of people being allowed to lead at their best, because we have to build a justice movement of tens of millions of us that are not going to take no for an answer until 25 million people are back to work in this country.
We have time for one more question, and I will
It's
turn
an
it to
announcement.
Roberta Cotman, who is a crown jewel of Detroit.
The last thing I'm going to say, it's an invitation, April 27th and 28th. Oh, say hello. The 27th and the 28th, AARP is doing a conference here at Wayne State University. It's called the Multiculturalism of Aging.
All right.
One other thing we have in common, we are going to age and we are represented and promoting multiculturalism, anti-racism, anti-ethnicity. 2 days, 27th, 28th, is here at Wayne State University. It's free. And Erica, where are you? Will you work with me to get the invitation?
Absolutely.
27th and 28th here at Wayne State Student Center Building.
Right.
Well, thank you very much for coming. I have just a couple of announcements, and if I don't do them, I know I'll hear from Roberta. First of all, on May the 17th in Washington, D.C., and we'll post information on this at the Labor at Wayne website next week, early next week by Monday. There's the Labor's International Hall of Fame will be held at the AFL-CIO building in the evening, May 17th, and it's inducting honorees and celebrating the 600 union members who died on September the 11th, 2001. And I've also been asked to announce that the American Federation of Teachers will have its annual meeting in July 2012 at the Cobo Center. There are other events that we will be sponsoring at Labor at Wayne on May 21st, a conference on the future of public sector unions, and on June the 5th, with Bob King and Leo Gerard and others here, we're doing one on rebuilding American manufacturing. So if you check our website, we'll have all the pertinent information. Again, thanks for coming. Thanks, Mary Kay Henry and your family for coming. I appreciate it very much.